And we're going to finish the white seal. Kotick has found the sea cow, found where they stay. Men don't go there. He's thinking a little bit about the girl that he met when he was last at Novostochna, and we'll continue from there. Then he dived and made sure of the mouth of the tunnel and raced through to the southward. No one but a sea cow or a seal would have dreamed of there being such a place, and when he looked back at the cliffs, even Kotick could hardly believe that he had been under them. He was 6 days going home, though he was not swimming slowly, and when he hauled out just above the sea lion's neck, the first person he met was the seal who had been waiting for him, and she saw by the look in his eyes that he had found his island at last. With the holluschickie and sea catch, his father and all the other seals laughed at him when he told them what he had discovered, and a very young seal about his own age said, "That is all very well, Kotick, but you can't come from no one knows where and order us off like this. Remember, we've been fighting for our nurseries. And that's a thing you never did. You preferred prowling about in the sea." The other seals laughed at this, and the young seal began twisting his head from side to side. He had just married that year and was making a great fuss about it. "I've no nursery to fight for," said Kotick. "I want only to show you all a place where you will be safe. What's the use of fighting?" "Oh, you're trying to back out now." "Oh, you're trying to back out, of course I've no more to say," said the young seal with an ugly chuckle. "Will you come with me if I win?" said Kotick, and a green light came into his eyes, for he was very angry at having to fight at all. "Very good," said the young seal said carelessly. "If you win." He had no time to change his mind, for Kotick's head darted out and his teeth sunk in the blubber of the young seal's neck. Then he threw himself back on his haunches and hauled his enemy down the beach, shook him and knocked him over. Then Kotick roared to the seals, "I've done my best for you these 5 seasons past. I've found you the island where you'll be safe, but unless your heads are dragged off your silly necks, you won't believe it. I'm going to teach you now. Look for yourselves." Limmershin told me that never in his life, and Limmershin sees 10,000 big seals fighting every year, never in his life did he see anything like Kotick's charge into the nurseries. He flung himself at the biggest sea catch he could find, caught him by the throat, choked him and bumped him and banged him till he grunted for mercy, and then threw him aside and attacked the next. You see, Kotick had never fasted for 4 months as the big seals did every year, and his deep-sea swimming trips kept him in perfect condition, and best of all, he had never fought before. His curly white mane stood up with rage, and his eyes flamed, and his big dog teeth glistened, and he was splendid to look at. Old Sea Catch, his father, saw him tearing past, hauling the grizzled old seals about as though they had been halibut, and upsetting the young bachelors in all directions, and Sea Catch gave one roar and shouted, "He may be a fool, but he is the best fighter on the beaches. Don't tackle your father, my son, he's with you." Kotick roared in answer, and old Sea Catch waddled in, his mustache on end, blowing like a locomotive, while Matka and the seal that was going to marry Kotick cowered down and admired their menfolk. It was a gorgeous fight, for the two fought as long as there was a seal that dared lift his head, and then they paraded grandly up and down the beach, side by side, bellowing. At night, just as the northern lights were winking and flashing through the fog, Kotick climbed a bare rock and looked down on the scattered nurseries and the torn and bleeding seals. "Now," he said, "I've taught you your lesson." "My wig," said old Sea Catch, boosting himself up stiffly, for he was fearfully mauled. "The killer whale himself could not have cut them up worse. Son, I'm proud of you, and what's more, I'll come with you to your island if there is such a place." "Here, you fat pigs of the sea, who comes with me to the sea cow's tunnel? Answer, and I'll teach you again," roared Kotick. "Answer, or I shall teach you again," roared Kotick. There was a murmur, like the ripple of the tide, all up and down the beaches. "We will come," said the thousands of tired voices. "We will follow Kotick the white seal." Then Kotick dropped his head between his shoulders and shut his eyes proudly. He was not a white seal any more, but red from head to tail. All the same, he would have scorned to look at or touch one of his wounds. A week later, he and his army, nearly 10,000 holluschickie and old seals, went away north to the sea cow's tunnel, Kotick leading them, and the seals that stayed at Nova Scotia called them idiots. But next spring, they all met off the fishing banks of the Pacific. Kotick seals told such tales of the new beaches beyond Sea Cow's tunnel that more and more seals left Nova Scotia. Of course, it was not all done at once, for the seals need a long time to turn things over in their minds. But year by year, more seals went away from Nova Scotia and Lukannon and the other nurseries to the quiet, sheltered beaches where Kotick sits all the summer through, getting bigger and fatter and stronger each year, while the hullest chickie play round him in the sea where no man comes. Lukannon. This is the great deep-sea song that all the St. Paul seals sing when they are heading back to their beaches in the summer. It is a sort of very sad seal national anthem. I meet my mates in the morning, and oh, but I am old, where roaming on the ledges the summer groundswell rolled. I heard them lift the chorus that drowned the breaker's song, the beaches of Lukannon, 2,000,000 voices strong. The song of pleasant stations beside the salt lagoons, the song of blowing squadrons that shuffled down the dunes, the song of midnight dances that churned the sea to flame, the beaches of Lukannon before the sealers came. I meet my mates in the morning, I'll never meet them more. They came and went in legions that darkened all the shore, and through the foam-flecked offing as far as voice could reach, we hailed the landing parties as we sang them up the beach. The beaches of Lukannon, the winter wheat so tall, the dripping crinkled lichens, and the sea fog drenching all, the platforms of our playground all shining smooth and worn, the beaches of Lukannon, the home where we were born. I meet my mates in the morning, a broken scattered band. Men shoot us in the water and club us on the land. Men drive us to the salt house like silky sheep and tame, and still we sing Lukannon before the sealers came. Wheel down to southward, O Guvaruska, go and tell the deep sea viceroys the story of our woe, ere empty as the shark's egg the tempest flings ashore, the beaches of Lukannon shall know their sons no more. That is the end of the White Seal.